Hello, 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 and welcome back to this playthrough of 428 Shibuya Scramble. I'm here with Yoshi,
What's up, folks?
and, I always forget what part it is, and I forget that,
It's
I think I checked.
29.
Sounds right. No, I think it's like 27. One of
Oh,
us will be right.
rats.
Maybe we're both wrong. Do you remember what happened last time?
Uh, no.
It's been a bit. I think we
I
finished
think
up
we missed a
Achi's
week.
storyline.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, we got Achi to be continued. Osawa has been to be continued for a while also. Achi's line, they went to the hospital.
Oh,
And
yeah, they saw Kanan fighting with Jack Stanley.
yeah. And then Jack Stanley is like, hey, I want to hang out with you guys.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
doctor was like, oh, by the way, Achi, about your dad, he gave me this
Oh,
weird
yeah, he was
call.
trying to kill Himiko, Hitomi. His dad was trying to kill Hitomi
Yeah.
and use her blood or whatever. That was messed up.
She's got
That's not a good
Bombay
thing to
blood.
do.
Yeah, I think that was the reveal. Um, what else? I don't think we started Kano yet. Or Minori.
Oh,
We did a little
darn.
bit of Minorikawa.
We've not been eating our vegetables, huh? With Kano.
Osawa.
Kano's in there at 16:05.
Yeah.
That poor,
Um,
poor son of a gun.
I don't know if we did this last time, but Osawa is still at home.
No, that was the time before.
Yeah,
He had the heart-to-heart with the monkey guy, the banana
and
guy.
Pretty Honey.
Yeah, and Pretty Honey over the web, sure.
Maria's hanging out with this assassin.
Yeah.
Kano we haven't started, and I think Minorikawa we had him talk to the gang member,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the taxi driver showed up. And I think the timeline changed because they ran over Achi, and we had Achi not run this time. So, where would you like to go? We got Kano and Minorikawa, and I think Maria is locked out at the moment.
Alright, let's check in with the homie Minorikawa.
Sorry, Kano.
Not today, Kano.
We got a nice crisp Minorikawa.
Oh, yeah, and then these guys were like getting it in.
Yeah, we're back in the car. You look tired, sir.
Yeah, I guess so.
His reply was barely audible. You can get a free subscription to that, and I don't use Audible. The taxi stopped outside of Heaven Publishing. The trip had taken 10 minutes on the dot.
Thanks.
Minorikawa left a 1,000 yen bill on the seat and exited the cab. Sir, the driver called after him. Minorikawa turned back around. Kimizuka was leaning out the window to point at him. It isn't called work because it's fun, sir. The day will be over soon enough. Just hang in there a little bit longer. Wink. Is that a hint that the game is almost over?
No, I just think it means that Minorikawa has to hang in there a little bit longer, like, before they can, like, hang out, you know?
The driver
Like,
finished with a knowing grin.
yeah. See? Nailed it.
Minorikawa cracked a ghost of a smile. Maybe his spirits had been lifted just a tiny little bit.
Thank you.
Here. He replied.
What? You're a true friend of the working man.
Sorry, just how loud Minorikawa talks. He waved half-heartedly, then headed into the building, especially with like him being in this dour mood. Oh, I think I give her the Mickey Mouse voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Mino! Chucky threw herself at him as soon as he opened the door to the editing office. News of the explosion was playing on the television. Minorikawa marched straight to his desk and opened up his laptop. While it booted up, he tried to get a handle on the current situation.
Where are the folks from the loan company?
Yes. They're here, Chucky said. I have them waiting downstairs, haha.
Do they know Toyama's dead?
I'm sorry. I kind of let that slip. Oh, yeah?
What about Hana?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her since she called earlier. Huh? With a tiny sigh, Minorikawa started typing at his laptop. By some miracle, the 6 pages of the copy were nearly wrapped up. Still, he needed to do whatever it took to see this job through to the end.
Isn't the guy dead, though?
That would serve
okay.
as his final tribute to Toyama's memory. He loaded
That
his
answers
copy.
my question.
He loaded his copy into the DTP software in order to set the layout. Bit by bit, the actual magazine articles began to take shape. Then the editing department door swung open. I think I'm the younger one. What voice did I give him? I didn't write any notes about that.
Oh, dang.
Hey! Snarled the young man who barged in first. He kicked over a stack of books. Hey-ya! How long are you gonna keep us waiting, huh? And then this is you.
Do you have any notes about me?
No, I just have suit guy. I remember this guy's tip being called the ogre, and I think you played off of that.
He's an ogre. Okay. So he's like, honestly, Zagawa, must you be so rowdy?
He's like a polite ogre or something. A middle-aged man
Oh, he's polite? Okay,
stepped
cool.
in alongside him.
Are you Mr. Minorikawa, then?
He added as his eyes fixed on the journalist. He held out his business card.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Asao Ozu from Takarada Financing.
Takarada Financing is a black market lending firm that offers loans at an interest rate above what the law allows. Well known for taking whatever steps necessary to collect what's owed. Its business card slogan, got bad credit but you need a loan? Call anytime, we'll put together a loan that suits your needs. That could have been a song. I could have worked a little harder on that translation.
My deepest sympathies about Mr. Toyama. However, I'm afraid that we do need to give... We do need you to give us back the money we loaned.
Despite his polite tone, the threat in his voice was plain.
Nailed it. Look! Next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip is definitely coming out. Couldn't you please wait for repayment until we have the funds from those sales?
Minorikawa asked. That was exactly what Toyama's plan had been, after all.
Well, we certainly aren't monsters. If the magazine is going to be making you money, we wouldn't mind delaying another month.
You really mean it? Haha. Chiaki chirped.
To clarify, that would be the case if Toyama were still alive. Releasing the next issue is all well and good, but with Toyama gone, so too is the company. That will make full repayment of what we're owed impossible, I expect. Then what do you want us to do?
Minorikawa asked coldly.
How about we just cut to the chase?
Growled the younger man, Sagawa.
Dig out your ears and listen up.
Chiaki recoiled in a panic, and Minorikawa held up an interposing hand.
Knock it off.
He said.
You're scaring the young lady.
A thin smile came to Ozu's face.
Oh, is this me?
Yeah, Ozu is the ogre guy.
Oh. Okay. All we want to know is where Mr. Toyama's daughter is.
Yeah, that's right.
Sagawa said.
Tell us where the girl is.
No way!
Chiaki squeaked in protest.
Hana's just a little kid. She doesn't have any responsibility to pay back the... Haha.
Ozu didn't let her finish.
We're aware of that. Nevertheless, we'd still like to know where she is.
The law didn't matter right now. Guys like this had all sorts of ways of wringing money out of people. It was clear from the looks on their faces that Ozu and Sagawa had some wicked scheme up their sleeves.
As, of course, you would prefer to take on Mr. Toyama's debts, Mr. Minorikawa. You are quite the accomplished reporter, after all. Take on his debts, huh?
Minorikawa didn't know how much Toyama had borrowed, but it only took one look at these guys to tell him it was no small sum.
How about it?
Ozu asked.
The way you land scoop after scoop, I'm sure you'll be able to repay us in full before you die.
Minorikawa fiercely returned his stare. Alright, we got 3 options here.
Let's just call it even. I think it's gonna work. Can't we just call it even?
The two men stiffened.
Hey. What was that?
The older of the two demanded. Oh.
Let's go with nothing, never mind. Nothing, never mind. Now then, how about we stick around until you feel so inclined?
The two men from Takarada Financing plunked themselves down on the editing department sofa.
Haha, Mr. Mino, you're not actually going to take on that debt, are you?
Chiaki asked quietly. Nailed it. Minorikawa sat at his desk looking over the copy he'd written.
That's none of your concern.
He said.
What I need to know is, how's your piece on those street interviews coming?
But, I mean, those guys, they said it doesn't matter if the issue comes out or not.
Don't be ridiculous. When a professional agrees to take on a job, they see it through to the end.
Chiaki took his point and scampered to grab the printout of her copy. Minorikawa gave it a quick once-over. He saw immediately that the piece was lacking in structure.
Jeez, Chiaki, you had one job.
He then read the article a second time, checking the finer details. Several off-theme sentences jumped out at him.
This is no good. Rewrite it.
He thrust the printout back at Chiaki.
Yes, sir.
She bowed her head and retreated to another desk.
I thought writing was the one thing she was good at. Because she's not good at, like, talking to people or, like, any kind of, like, administrative stuff, right? Anything that requires any kind of social interaction.
Yeah.
I thought that her saving grace was that she was good at writing the articles.
Maybe she didn't have much to work with, because she only talked to, what, like one guy?
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5. A guy and a cat. And some kids.
Okay.
The TV was still on. A news broadcaster broadcaster's voice suddenly broke through the silence, as well as Minorikawa's concentration. Right, who wants to be the news broadcaster?
I'll do it.
Alright.
We're live on the scene now, where an explosion in Shibuya has...
Minorikawa gazed blankly at the screen. He found his mind drifting to a particular memory of Toyama. The door looked like it might fall apart at any moment, but Minorikawa didn't care. He pounded on it as hard as he could. The Toyama nameplate popped off and fell to the floor. It was hard to believe this dilapidated apartment was the home of a newspaper editor who'd worked his way up from reporter.
Hey, Toyama, get your ass out here!
At the sound of Minorikawa's angry shouting, other tenants on the floor poked their heads out of their rooms to stare. He paid them no heed, continuing to call out. Eventually, Toyama opened the door, dressed in his sweats and undershirt. Toyama's note is whiny.
Okay, quiet down, you moron!
He snapped.
Come on in. I hear you tendered your letter of resignation at the paper.
Minorikawa sat cross-legged on the tatami-covered floor.
Tell me why.
Toyama quirked a lopsided grin.
You wanna know why I quit, huh? Alright, ain't in clothes.
Minorikawa peered at him dubiously.
Huh? What? I don't want anyone overhearing this.
Resigned, Minorikawa leaned forward and turned his right ear toward Toyama. The man's warm breath against his cheek was pretty unsettling. At first he had trouble concentrating on Toyama's story, but when the older man got to the crux of the matter, he found himself listening with rapt attention. How long is this story? Just whispering it in his ear?
Yeah, with the hot breath and stuff.
And Minorikawa was distracted by that hot breath for like the first third of the story. By the time Toyama finished, Minorikawa was unable to suppress his shock.
You're starting your own publishing company? Not so loud, damn it.
Toyama shushed him with a finger to his lips.
Ooh.
He looked around warily, as if there might be spies in his own apartment.
Right, but a publishing company?
Minorikawa said again, more quietly this time.
Nailed it. What are you doing for your distributor account?
All booksellers were required to use a wholesale distributor to circulate their publications. To do business with such a distributor, a publisher needed a specialized distributor account.
They're not going to let a company with no track record open a new account with a distributor. Pardon me. I'm sure you must realize that.
Toyama grinned, a proud gleam in his eyes.
I know. That's why I bought one. You bought one? A ghost account belonging to a publisher that went bankrupt.
Distributor accounts could go for tens of millions of yen. There's no way Toyama could afford that on his severance pay alone. He must have taken out a loan in order to make the purchase. But the publishing industry was in a slump nowadays. People just weren't buying books much anymore. Starting up a new publishing company was a beyond risky endeavor. Toyama.
I've already decided on a name for my company, Minorikawa.
Toyama's face was positively beaming.
Get this. Heaven Publishing. Heaven? That sounds fatalistic. The idea is that people who work with me will feel like they're in paradise.
For all his kvetching about keeping quiet, Toyama was now exclaiming pretty loudly himself. Did I pronounce that right? Is it kvetching or just vetching?
No, you pronounce the K and the V, but you don't treat them like they're their own syllable. You say fetching.
Kvetching.
I mean, I get it. Oh, I mean, I can appreciate your willingness to take a risk, but surely your wife must have had objections.
Minorikawa said. Toyama fell silent. He went and opened up the refrigerator. Minorikawa took a peek inside. Its shelves were mournfully spare, holding little besides beer cans and drinking snacks.
Mrs. Lefty took our daughter with her.
Those scant few words painted the picture clearly enough. Toyama grabbed a can of beer and tossed it to his guest.
But no more sob stories.
He went on. He briskly cracked open his own can of beer. Weak foam bubbled from the top.
Cheers, Minorikawa, to Heaven Publishing's big debut.
He'd cast everything aside and was striving for a new beginning. If the
Nailed it.
man had braced himself for the challenge, it wasn't Minorikawa's place to tell him he was making a mistake. Even if it was an uphill battle, he had little chance of winning.
Congrats, Mr. Toyama.
Minorikawa pulled the tab on his beer can.
Cheers.
The two of them clacked their cans together. One year had passed since Toyama founded Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa poked his head into the editing office, a bag from the convenience store in hand.
Hey, boss. How's business? How does it look like it's doing?
Toyama sat amidst a veritable mountain of returned stock, his expression bleak.
Ooh, what's return stock?
You know how bookstores don't purchase the books they sell, but rather take them on consignment? Well, that's
Yeah.
so that allows them to return the publisher any books that they don't sell.
Oh.
Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Hey. Why is it not letting me click things? Did my controller just die? Oh well. I can use my mouse. The books were all bulky non-fiction tomes, not exactly the sort to fly off the shelves. The man couldn't even muster a smile for their reunion.
It's been like this for every non-fiction book we put out.
Non-fiction. Come on, Toyama.
Wow, starting right off with the bleak stuff, huh? Because things are bleak. The only thing that's selling is this gossip rag of ours.
Minorikawa pulled some beer cans from his bag, handing one to Toyama. Toyama lifted an issue of 4-star general gossip from atop his desk. It was Heaven Publishing's one breadwinner, the only thing keeping the company afloat. But the gossip now seemed like it was buried in the red of the publisher's nonfiction releases.
I really did have higher aspirations than this.
Toyama sighed, gazing in disappointment at the piles of unsold books.
Then here we are. With our gossip magazine as our only viable publication.
The beleaguered bookseller chugged his beer.
How does the girl talk?
I thought you were gonna read it in your Toyama voice, but let me see.
Wait. Daddy, I'm hungry.
I have no notes, but I know she's like
Okay.
she's pretty apathetic,
She's
isn't she?
Yeah, she's weird. She's like, um, Daddy, I'm hungry.
Minorikawa was startled to hear a young child's voice. Nailed
I
it.
nailed it.
He turned around to see a little girl nestled between the stacks of returned stock.
That's my daughter, Hana.
Toyama said.
It's complicated, but she's living with me now. I see.
Minorikawa couldn't press for more details with Hana right there. In all likelihood, things with Toyama's ex-wife hadn't been going well.
Go on, introduce yourself.
Toyama said.
This is one of Daddy's work friends.
Hana turned to Minorikawa with a bright little grin.
Hello, my name's Hana. I'm 6. You want some of this?
Minorikawa held out a packet of dried
Oh.
squid he'd bought to go with the beers. You thought he was going to give
You
her
want
a
some of
beer.
this? I thought it was Hana was offering him the squid.
Oh no. I guess in the picture it could be both ways.
Sure.
Hana greedily stuffed her cheeks with the squid. Toyama flashed a sheepish grin.
You like living with your daddy, Hana?
Minorikawa asked, giving the girl's hair a gentle ruffle.
Uh-huh. I do. My daddy's amazing. He runs a company.
Toyama let out a tiny involuntary sob at his daughter's ready praise.
I'll keep at it.
Toyama said, looking into his daughter's smiling face.
Hana is more important to me than any high aspirations I might have had. I'll keep shelling out copies of Big Awesome, and at least make sure she's always got something good to eat. Daddy, this is really tasty.
Hana held up the pouch of dried squid. Tears welled up in Toyama's eyes.
Next time, I'll make sure she has some sashimi instead of something like that. Hey, what do you mean, something like this?
Minorikawa grumbled.
I paid good money for this squid.
Toyama and his daughter laughed together. It was a
Sorry, that
heartwarming.
was close enough to the actual line that
Yeah,
I didn't
you
I didn't
close.
feel the need to like.
After the scene, I should check on this controller. It was a heartwarming sight. Minorikawa thought, a father and his girl getting along so well. Toyama might have been a hard-hitting journalist, but when he came home at the end of the day, he was just a daddy. It was only natural for the man as a father to put his child above anything else. After gorging herself on snacks, Hana fell asleep on the sofa looking well and truly satisfied.
You know, Minorikawa, how does happiness mean more to me than my lofty artistic ideals ever could?
Toyama kept his voice low as he regarded his daughter's sleeping face. And from that day forward, Heaven Publishing had shifted its focus to scandal rags, with 4-star general gossip as its pillar. Had that been for good or for ill? Whatever the case, Toyama had abandoned his pride. Minorikawa had watched him become more and more of a miserable wretch. Minorikawa snapped back into the present as a sheaf of pages appeared in front of his face.
Here you go.
Chiaki said, radiating anxiety.
Nailed it. Right.
Minorikawa gave her copy a close read-over, then thrust it back out to her.
What did you even fix?
He asked.
Could you please tell me what parts are wrong?
She mumbled, hanging her head.
What are you talking about?
It's just, well, we don't have a lot of time here, so I figure I'd just fix the parts that need fixing.
Chiaki trailed off into an indistinct mutter.
Is that always how you go about fixing your copy?
Yep.
Then you're never going to get it any better. If someone tells you it's no good, you rewrite the whole thing from scratch. Just making fiddly tweaks here and there is what an amateur does.
Chiaki dipped her head even deeper, cringing at the reprimand. Minorikawa let out a tiny sigh.
Look, what I just told you, that's what Toyama told me when I was first starting out. There were times he'd have me do dozens of rewrites. At first, I thought he was just pushing me around. But after rewriting things over and over, I realized something. There are a whole lot of ways you can write about the same thing. And that's what helped me hone my skills as a writer.
Chiaki raised her head back up.
Oh, wow. Really? Haha.
If you can get that, then stick with it. Write your submission deadline as close as you have to in order to write the best piece you can.
Okay, I can do it. I will do it. Haha.
Finally, Chiaki's face brightened with a smile.
That's the spirit.
The woman might have talent, but she hadn't realized it yet. She needed to be able to stick to an assignment even when things got tough. If she didn't have that kind of resolve, she'd never make it as a freelancer.
Oh, how touching.
Ozu chimed in, applauding.
I am almost moved to tears. They'll make a movie of this for sure. See, we had only been acquainted with that sad sap Toyama. We never knew there was such an upstanding fellow here who was so good at tough love.
Minorikawa shot to his feet and pounded his fist on the desk.
That's about enough from the peanut gallery.
Hold your tongue.
Sagawa snarled. His eyes shone with a vicious gleam.
We're getting sick of waiting here.
Sagawa, you really are a short-tempered guy, aren't you?
Ozu clucked disapprovingly at his underling, then slid a sheet of paper onto Minorikawa's desk.
Nevertheless, I'm afraid we do require a decision now. If you'll just stamp here, we'll be on our way.
Chiaki stared down at the document.
Is this a bond of recognizance? Recognizance?
Yeah. That's right. That's what you write when transferring a debt.
Oh, that was the wrong person.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you're right when transferring a debt.
Sagawa puffed himself up proudly. Minorikawa silently looked over the contract.
If you don't have a stamp, we'll gladly accept a signature as well.
Ozu pointed out.
Face it, pal.
Sagawa added.
If you don't hurry up and sign, we're never gonna stop going after Toyama's daughter.
Minorikawa snatched up a pen.
Mr. Mino, you can't do this. Think about what you're doing.
Chiaki shouted.
If you go through with this, you'll just wind up like Mr. Toyama.
I won't.
Yes, you will.
Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Minorikawa, damn it. I'm going to land so many scoops it will make your head spin. And I'm going to pay back this debt and rebuild Heaven Publishing.
But why would you take such a risk?
Chiaki sobbed. Minorikawa lowered his voice.
Because I owe him so much. I can stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter.
That's an interesting watch she has. It's like a really tiny analog looking.
Is it analog?
It looks analog to me.
Huh.
Like there's 2 little gears inside it, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I can't tell.
Well, it's
a
gone
little
now.
jelly bean.
Alright, who is this?
If I had to guess, for my money, I'd say probably not 100%. To be honest, but if I had to say for my money, I would say Shizuo.
Alright, let's do it.
Because it says something like, oh ho.
Oh. Before Minorikawa could sign, Sagawa startled him with a sudden exclamation. Aha! Looking up, Minorikawa saw what the loan sharks had seen, little Hana standing by the door.
Get her.
On it, boss.
Ozu and Sagawa rushed at the girl.
Run!
Minorikawa shouted. Hana bolted right back out the door, but Ozu managed to snatch her up just as she reached the stairs.
Let's be on our way, shall we?
A vile grin came to Ozu's cruel face as he headed down the stairwell.
Stop! Let her go!
Minorikawa rushed after them, trying to grab the girl, but Sagawa drove a punch right into his face.
Oh!
The pain staggered him. Nevertheless, he managed to press on.
Get your hands off! Off that girl!
Shut your damn mouth.
Something hard slammed into his chest. His vision went dark. He felt himself slipping from consciousness. Just before he blacked out, he heard Hana's voice.
I'm sorry, Uncle Minorikawa. Sorry? No, I'm the one who should apologize.
But before his thoughts got any further, Minorikawa passed out. My, a bad end. How do I see the... Oh, there we go, thanks. Ah. Maybe I don't need to check on this controller. Hana showed up at his office only to get caught by the moneylenders, and Sagawa drop-kicked Minorikawa into unconsciousness when he tried to save her. Turns out, Hana had been at the police station just before this trying to decide if she should tell the police her father had been killed in the explosion. Then someone brought her to Heaven Publishing, which was clearly a mistake. That's the tip. Alright, what's next?
So we need to not get her to Heaven Publishing, then?
Yeah. F2 is the time chart. Right, let's see. F2. Alright, I think all we have left is Kano.
Alright.
Because bad end, to be continued, keep out, to be continued. Yeah. Alright, time to go to this vegetable. What happened with Kano last we saw him? He split up with Jack Stanley, right? And he knows about the virus, I believe.
Yeah, everyone knows about the virus at this point.
Hold on. How do I do the summary from this? There we go. The minivan is discovered on Koen Dori. Just before Kano arrives, the van explodes. Blah blah blah. Kano learns about the virus, and that Maria has the virus, and that to get the cure they need Tanaka, but Tanaka's dead, and that's it. So he's probably just bummed. This is a Kano bummer hour, probably. Arriving back at the Shibuya precinct, Kano hurried to the interrogation room. With the investigation currently on hold, he knew that taking any official action would be tricky. If he was going to break through this stalemate, he was going to need Tateno's help. The abduction, the ransom, the attaché case relay, Maria's release, and then Tanaka's death. Maybe Tateno would be able to figure out how all these elements were related. But first, Kano needed to check something for himself. Tateno would never have let Alcarawan go free. Kano needed the prisoner to set the record straight. Alcarawan sat in the precinct interrogation room, looking brazen and cocksure. One glance at his face, and Kano was reminded of what had happened to Sasayama. Fresh anger smoldered at the edges of his mind. There were two detective already in the room. Alright, who should be the detectives?
You can be the first detective. The
Alright.
first of the detective.
Let's see, what's a good detective voice?
It seems he wasn't made privy to the details.
One of them told Kano.
Sounds like they were following orders, carrying that attaché case around.
The other added. Kano sat down across from Alcarawan.
There's something I'd like to ask you.
He said.
We were just paid to do a job. Oh.
Who is
Oh, wait, no,
Alcarawan?
this is Alcarawan.
Alright, Al. Do I have you written down? Wow, I don't. Nope, I don't see him in here. I feel like you voiced him though, but maybe I'm wrong. You can.
Was
you
he
can decide.
was he the English? Was he the English guy?
Yeah, he's When did we last see him? Like they arrested him earlier.
He's not the one who talks like T.S. Eliot, is he?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it probably is then.
No, T.S. Eliot was Osawa's boss, I think. Cause I was like, do the Godfather voice, and you did like Marlon. What was his name?
Yeah, Marlon Brando.
Brando, and then
He was like,
it
"We
switched
that
over.
was but that was Makino."
Makino.
It's like, "Hey guys, let's be Makino."
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Who was the one who was like talked about the love triangle? He's like, we had a love triangle on the playground, and
Yeah, the assassin's T.S. Eliot.
that's not this guy.
That's not this guy. Cause
But
the
he's an
assassin's hanging out with
assassin.
Maria. This is the guy that was handing out the briefcases and stuff.
Oh, but this one probably. I think this one probably talks to T.S. Eliot too.
Oh. Alright.
She didn't see that coming.
Well, it's up to you.
All right. Well, for my money, if I had to guess, probably he would sound something like this. We were just paid to do a job. I don't know anything more than that.
His Japanese was imperfect, but he understood the language well enough.
Nailed it. Tell me, how did you manage to escape from Detective Tateno? Escape? I didn't.
A faint smile came to Alcarawan's lips. That's not faint at all. He needs a floss, by the way.
You let me go free. Liar! Detective Tateno would never do that!
Kano slammed the desk with his fist.
I didn't have handcuffs on, did I? He took them off for me.
This had to be a lie. It's not like there weren't other ways to remove a pair of handcuffs.
After he took off the handcuff,
Alcarawan continued.
he pointed his gun at me.
Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar, but Alcarawan went on, unperturbed.
He kept the gun pointed at me, but he didn't pull the trigger, so that's when I ran. Why would Detective Tateno want to shoot you? Because I saw him. Saw him? Saw him do what? Let me tell you something interesting.
Alcarawan said sardonically.
There was that girl who was carrying the ransom, right?
Kano pictured Hitomi standing anxiously beside the statue of Hachiko.
That guy Tateno was trying to kill her.
In a fit of rage, Kano drove his fist into Alcarawan's face. His colleagues rushed to interpose themselves.
A lot of interposing going on in this episode.
Kano, calm down.
Knocked to the floor, Alcarawan gingerly fingered his split lip.
And after I gave you such good info, too.
He grumbled.
Detective Tateno was assigned to protect Hitomi Asawa.
Kano shouted.
You can't expect me to believe you're rubbish.
He lunged around the table, ready to throw another punch, but his fellow detectives held him back. Alcarawan looked away indifferently.
It's your Detective Tateno you should be arresting, not me. That girl's going to get killed. You need to step in line, pal.
Kano bellowed.
Nailed it.
Kano,
His colleagues shouted.
you're the one who needs to step in line. Go and cool off for a bit.
Expelled from the interrogation room, Kano immediately pulled out his cell phone and called Tateno's number.
Please pick up.
He clutched his phone tight, pleading under his breath. But Tateno didn't answer. Kano sat down in a chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found himself holding the present Sasayama had gotten for his wife.
I have to do something. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do.
His restlessness gnawed at him like a rabid animal. Alright, who is this?
It's I had to guess, for my money, I would say it's Yanagishita.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Hey, Kano.
He looked up to see Kuze standing beside him, his expression grave. I think I'm Kuze.
Yeah.
Hey, Kano. I have an update on Sasayama.
The director began. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat.
It seems the knife went in deep enough to do some organ damage. He's in critical condition.
I see.
Kano bit his lip hard. His handkerchief, red with Sasayama's blood, clung to the wrapping paper of Sasayama's present. Kano peeled it away carefully so as not to tear the paper beneath.
What's that?
Asked Kuze.
See, pardon me. Sasayama had me hold on to this for him. It's a present for his wife.
Ah, I see.
I'm sorry, Director Kuze, for ignoring your orders.
Kano's eyes remained fixed on the gift as he spoke.
When you get down to it, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me.
Some kind of punishment was surely headed his way for acting alone as he had. He probably wasn't getting out of this one with a simple written apology. If you don't know what a written apology is, it's when you apologize writtenly.
Ooh.
Yep, that's that. Bakuze calmly shook his head.
What happened to Sasayama isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, he said. As far as this case goes, I've been given quite the runaround myself.
There was a rare note of vulnerability in Kuze's voice.
The higher-ups have barely let any information trickle my way, but they're still ordering me around non-stop. It's a real pain in the ass.
Kuze fell silent, ruminating. The quiet lingered between the two men for several moments before he abruptly spoke again.
Oh, right. I'd like to get your opinion on something. So, Mamoru Tanaka, who we found in the minivan, you know? What you think? Should we oughta maybe release his name to the media?
Kuze had slipped into his childish register. Oops.
Should we oughta maybe release his name to the media?
He was clearly exhausted. After dealing with the kidnapper's baffling actions and too much meddling from the higher-ups, even a veteran like Kuze is just beat. But that's not the only reason for his exhaustion. Kuze has a brother, 6 years his senior, who, despite being nominally mature, refuses to get a real job and shows no inclination to settle down with a family. He walks around town day after day, dressed like a hippie and treating passers-by to songs he's written. Kuze has been worrying about his shiftless brother for years now. The guy's become a chronic source of consternation. Wow, that's
It's too bad that he's constipated.
chronically constipated, huh? Kano was thrown by the question. It was a rare thing for the director to seek an opinion from a mere junior detective.
It feels like there's something not too normal about one of Kenji Osawa's subordinates dying.
Kuze went on. I imagine he's still in that childish register. Kano had had the same thought. This felt too intentional to be a coincidence.
So here's the question. Should I get the media involved and try to rush for a resolution, or should I be more cautious? What would you do?
Pardon me. Releasing the name?
Kano asked. That wasn't such a simple thing to answer. There were so many factors to consider. A tired smile came to Kuze's face.
Don't think about it so hard. This is just so I have a point of reference. Tell me what your gut says. Ooh.
Yeah, I should be fine.
A.
Yeah. I think releasing the name should be alright.
There was a lot they didn't know about Tanaka. Oh, there's still a lot that they didn't know about Tanaka. The fact that the final stop for the ransom relay was Tanaka's condo implied some sort of connection between him and the kidnappers. But they still had no idea what his role in the abduction might have been. They also didn't have any motive for why Tanaka would be helping the kidnappers in the first place. By sharing some of what they did know with the public, they might be able to garner some new leads. You'd release the name?
Alright then.
Without another word, Kuze headed back toward the conference room. On the TV, the governor's press conference was still going on. I think you were the governor for like a little bit.
Yeah, do we have a note?
Just professional.
Professional, you say.
Yeah. He did get angry that one time, and I don't know what he sounded like, I forgot. But I know he got angry that one time. Maybe he's still upset. Professionally upset.
I've just requested that each of the railroad companies, starting with JR, stop running trains through Shibuya Station until further notice. As far as the roads go, Route 246 has already been closed to traffic.
The executive looked pale as he spoke to the crowd.
Is there any possibility of a bioterrorist attack?
What about,
Oh, you want to read that?
No, you got it. You got it.
what about the people who are still in Shibuya?
The reporters unleashed a barrage of questions. The governor's face scrunched up.
As I've already made clear, this is not a complete blockade.
Because modern Japan does not have a system for enacting martial law, there are few ways that the government could effectively quarantine Shibuya. In the case of a potential viral infection, the infectious disease law allows for the city to be partitioned into areas of restricted movement. If the authorities do not want to acknowledge the existence of a top-secret UA virus, however, taking such an action would be rather tricky legally.
There's nothing to stop anyone from leaving Shibuya on foot.
Isn't what you're describing de facto martial law? Spat one reporter.
Of course not.
The governor snapped.
You should be well aware that martial law is illegal. I couldn't declare it even if I wanted to.
If you wanted to. So this is a bioterrorist issue then.
I never said anything of the sort.
The press conference was devolving into chaos. Kano was unsurprised, given the circumstances. Still, everyone was doing their best insofar as they knew how.
So why not me?
Kano thought.
It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to be doing something.
Just letting time tick by without trying to take action was more than he could bear. Kano... Ooh. Call the GF, call the BF, or call the BFW?
Let's call Sasayama's wife.
Kano thought about Sasayama's wife and decided to get in touch with her. He called Sasayama's home phone, but nobody picked up. Perhaps she'd gone to the hospital? With that in mind, Kano called up Shibuya Central Hospital and asked them to transfer him to Mrs. Sasayama. Alright, who should be Mrs. Sasayama if she picks up?
I can do it.
Okay. After a little while, a woman's voice came through the receiver.
Oh, yes. This is Mrs. Sasayama.
Her voice was thin and reedy.
Nailed it.
My name is Shinya Kano. I work with your husband on the force. What happened?
He didn't know what to say. He couldn't find the words.
I wish I'd been there when he'd gone to make that arrest.
He blurted out at last.
I should have tried to get there and back him up sooner. If I hadn't been too late.
He trailed off, hoping he hadn't said too much. Sasayama's wife answered in her gentle, quavering voice.
Oh, thank you so much for your concern. I'm glad that my husband is lucky enough to have a colleague like you.
No, I couldn't.
I married a detective, Mr. Kano. I prepared myself for the possibility that something like this might happen.
But she certainly didn't sound like she was prepared. Kano felt a biting pain in his chest.
Your husband gave me something to hold on to for you. I'd like to give it to you if I can.
Oh, well, certainly. But I'd like to stay here by his side today, if possible.
Of course. I'll head on over to the hospital myself, then. I hope you don't mind if I pay a visit.
Oh, of course not. Sorry to trouble you like this. Thank you so much.
Kano hung up, then hurried out of the precinct. As he was making his way downtown toward the hospital, Kano spotted...
I was going to say the same thing.
Kano spotted a girl sitting on the
I was going to say, making his way toward the hospital.
Kano spotted a girl sitting on the pedestrian overpass. She looked like she was on the verge of tears. Concerned, he stopped beside her.
Are you waiting for someone?
He asked. The girl simply bit her lip and said nothing.
Are you lost? Do you need a policeman?
The relatively low crime rate in Japan, combined with rather high police personnel numbers in Tokyo, mean that officers, particularly beat cops, often have plenty of bandwidth to deal with more minor issues. Again, the girl gave no answer.
Where did you come from?
Kano tried. Still nothing. He had just decided to go and call for a female officer when the girl hesitatingly spoke at last.
Heaven Publishing.
After a little coaxing, she told him where that was. It turned out it was on the way to Shibuya Central Hospital, not too far from where they were now.
Why don't I take you there, then?
Kano said.
I'm already heading that direction anyway.
The girl seemed a bit reluctant at first, but eventually she agreed to go with Kano. Uh-oh, is this what we want? Kano parted ways.
It's not what we
It's
want.
not what we want. But Kano parted ways with the girl outside the building where Heaven Publishing was located. He noticed that she hesitated to enter at first, but eventually vanished inside. We need to change that choice once we finish this, I guess. Kano's phone rang as he was about to continue on his way. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. There was Tateno's name. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call.
Detective Tateno? Detective Tateno, is that you?
There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had he been doing this whole time? Why had he let Adokadawan go free? And what had happened to Hitomi? But while he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Tateno spoke. I do have a note, because he spoke in a flashback. You voiced him, and the note here is heroic.
Okay. I think I remember this voice. There's something like, I've secured Maria Osawa.
What?
The word came out as a startled gasp.
Detective Tateno, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now, she's...
Tateno cut him off.
Basically, you need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once.
Hitomi Osawa?
Yes. I heard over the wireless that the man from the U.S. Embassy had her in her custody.
Kano hadn't been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently, Stanley had managed to find Hitomi. But what was Tateno getting at here?
Wait, hold on. What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Hitomi Osawa to you?
There was no reply.
Detective Tateno, answer me. Please.
Tateno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions.
There's an office building in Nanpadai called South Hill. Basically, I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria.
With that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp. His phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. He needed to get to Tateno and find out what was going on. He started running alone toward Nanpadai, taking the quickest route through the back streets and alleys. He'd almost made it to South Hill when he spotted 3 foreigners in a narrow alley ahead. They were scanning the area as if searching for someone, and when they noticed Kano, they started running right for him. They were all dressed in the same kind of black clothes Adokadawan wore. Kano recognized them at once, syndicate members who had taken part in the ransom relay. In a matter of moments, they had him cornered.
Wait,
He said,
I'm hungry.
but
I mean,
either
I'm in a hurry.
they didn't understand him, or simply didn't care to respond. Instead, they moved into attack, pummeling him with fists and kicks. It was 3 against 1. Kano didn't stand a chance. Although he tried desperately to protect himself, soon he was sprawled out on the ground like a used and a tattered rag. The men left him where he fell. As they jogged into the distance, he could see them searching again. The deserted alleyway grew quiet as the storm's aftermath.
I mean, to get to Tateno.
He strained to reach out for his cell phone, but he couldn't move any of his fingers. Bad end. Won't be seeing Tateno.
Rip.
En route to Nanpadai, Kano crossed paths with Adokadawan's cronies and got badly beaten. Ironically, these crooks hadn't been looking for him. Someone else had led them to Nanpadai, and Kano wound up paying the price as a result. Wow, who could that have been?
Shizuo.
We've passed the hour mark, though. I don't know if you want to continue going.
I think it's probably a good place to stop for now.
Okay.
So we definitely know we need to fix a decision that he makes
Yeah.
about Hana. And that's the only one I know that we can probably do, right? I guess if we fix Hana,
Yeah.
we can open up another door. Alright. Alright. So, thoughts, impressions, theories?
I have one theory, which is that you know how there's a lot of different storylines in this game.
Yeah. There's like 5 of them.
I have a theory that some of them, I think, some of them might be interconnected with each other.
Oh, really? Which ones?
Like the one with Kano, and the one with the girl and Minorikawa, and the one with Achi, and Hitomi and Maria. I think those might be related. And Osawa. The Osawa storyline might be related to like the
Yeah,
Maria's storyline.
I think so. You might be right. You've got a point there.
Other than that, it's hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good theory, though. You've got the good, like the basic structure of a good hypothesis. So let's talk about food. This weekend we had some friends over and they made pies.
What kind of pies? You make any savory pies?
It's an apple pie and a peach pie. So not
Those
really
don't
that
sound
savory.
particularly savory. That's not sad. Peach isn't savory.
The recipe they used for the peach pie, though, they added a little cayenne pepper. So there's like a little kick to the peach pie.
Okay, yeah, that's a bit saves.
I don't have that much experience without pies, but I didn't realize that they took so long to make and bake.
What's like an hour?
Yeah. And there were 2, and we could only do like 1 at a time, so it took like 3 hours to cook 2 pies.
Huh.
Bake, I suppose. But it was pretty good.
Yeah. That's really not that long though if you think about it. An hour? Like how long do you think it would take? 20 minutes?
Yeah,
15?
that's true. I was thinking like 30 minutes.
You
What
can't hardly make anything in the oven in 30 minutes.
when we make bread,
Maybe some
it's-
little like sugar cookies.
when we make little like bread, it's about 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe some small breads.
yeah, that's probably it. The pie
Like
is
can
pretty
you make
big.
a loaf? Can you make a loaf in 20, 30 minutes? 15 minutes?
I don't know. We don't have like a bread pan loaf thing, so I don't know. Cause we just roll them up in little balls. That's probably part of it.
You know who makes good bread?
Ooh,
Subway.
Subway.
Yeah, the little breads at Subway, like people don't really talk about it, but like
They have little breads.
they bake the breads on site. That was their whole shtick for a while, right? Like all the breads baked right here, and when they're like,
I
"What
meant
kind of
like-
bread do you want?"
I meant like they make breads that aren't subs, like little breads, like little rolls.
No, those are little breads.
Oh,
It is a little bread. It's a foot long,
a
relatively
long
narrow piece of bread.
A baguette, breadette.
It's basically a baguette, yeah. But like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good though. Like that's why, like, because Subway, like, I mean, it kind of bites, right? But like, if you think like why, like but you keep going back there anyway, and you're like, why do I keep going back to Subway when like it's just like a ham sandwich or whatever? But it's because like they do a pretty good job making those breads, you know, in that little oven. That looks like a soda machine. It's like a soda machine full of breads.
Yeah.
But like those breads are pretty good. Otherwise, like, no one would just ever go back there ever get like it would just be like the maximum number of customers Subway could ever get would just be like how many people there are in the world. It's like 7 billion because like no one would ever go back. But
Honestly, though, I feel like it's really hard to make a bread that is disgusting or not good, right? Because I can't imagine like a bread that is like below good.
I mean, what about like just the bread from the store? Like when you buy the bread from the store and you like make a ham sandwich, like it's not as good as Subway.
Oh, like Wonder Bread or whatnot. Yeah, I guess so.
Or like Thomas's or Martin's or whatever it's called. The potato bread,
Okay,
St.
okay.
Martin's potato bread or whatever.
I guess I was thinking about just like bakery bread, freshly baked bread.
If you can bake a bread better than Subway, then you should open a sandwich store because I'm sure you can get better ham. It's not like they have the hookup on like all the best hams or whatever. Like, I'm sure you could buy a higher quality ham.
Yeah, maybe. There's a little restaurant in town that they do sandwiches, but they use waffles.
Is
So
it good?
there's like you can have like a they have like a ham sandwich but with waffles. But you can also do like shrimp avocado or a tuna sandwich. Those are
Ooh,
pretty good.
I like a good shrimp salad sandwich.
And the waffle itself has a little bit of sweetness to it, but it like contrasts nicely with the saltiness, the savoriness of a.
It's like a McGirdle.
I guess so. Like the waffle isn't really greasy though. I don't know if McGriddles are greasy.
No, not greasy really. They're just like a little sticky because they got that syrup. It's like a pancake. It's like a
Yeah.
little pig in a blanket.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Man, I'm hungry now. That should probably be the end of the episode.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. I'm gonna go eat some more of that lamb.
Hey, give me some of that lamb. I got some lamb for you.
Hey, I just got done with a Shibuya Scramble, and I was thinking about buying a lamb.
That's little Easter eggs for the little lamb heads at home.
All right, lamb heads, we're heading out. Next time we're gonna be playing more Shibuya Scramble.
Yeah, episode 29.
Hopefully that'll be next week, but if not, you know, you can just be later, whatever. Okay, see you guys.
See you, folks.